let's start the 20 minutes of the previous one. Well, we have about today's lecture to extend 3 slides, at least introduce the 3 sets at once. So the invisible wall inside China ecosystem. This slide try to wrap and explain comprehensively about the barriers of labor in China. Wuko, the system that showed it where you from, right? Which what state or province that you born? Am I right? And also back into that period of before the transition period. When I mentioned about the transition, China has changed from planned economy to market economy when it has a policy called reforms and open 1980s approximately. So by then period, I don't know that right now your ID has been changed, right? It's probably like smart card. You have a video or just a passport. You have other one, right? Like ID. Show me sometime. I don't want to take a video, but just want, is it something like where you from, place of birth, type, sex, name, something like this, right? But in like the way of technology shows in plastic card. Okay. But 1950, people cannot have the chance to get into other states without the permission. But right now you can work, right? From other province, even you stay in Yunnan. Am I right? Because the regulation of the condition of the government has relaxed and allowed the people or the labor to move across. And because the limit and shortage of labor, but think about the period before 1970s and 80s. China still have so many people, and the period in economic called a surplus, a huge surplus of labor. Supposed to have some light over here. Okay. So I may ask some of the Chinese students just want to have a confirmation that you're from Yunnan. Can you go to other province and buy a new car? You cannot. You have to buy a car at your province. But for us in Thailand, right, we can go down to Bangkok and buy like Bangkok registration plate. But it is prohibited in China. That's what the capital of China in mainland Shanghai, big city. They won't allow the other cars or vehicles to come in.
They allow.
Allow now?
They allow. Yeah.
But for buying?
But you bought a car in your city and you just get a number plate for other cities.
I'm sorry?
You get a number plate for other cities, right?
You buy, right?
Yeah.
From other cities mean you buy here like in Yunnan.
And you bought and you ask them for the number plate from the other cities. So yeah.
That means it allows you to put the other cities in on registration.
Yeah.
That's the same, but you confirm about that?
I'm not so sure.
Okay, so that was what's the reason behind?
Not sure about the.
People have to come across the border, right? Logistic, people have to travel, and I think that they have some behind, and I will find out. Thank you. Okay, to support the evidence, but something like this, okay, because I'm not updated. Okay, and for the people, let's say, if you want to buy a house in Shanghai, you from Yunnan, it's easy to get. Yes or no? No. You have the conditions. But you take some time for you to buy. For example, how long did you stay in Beijing? What university did you finish? You have jobs or not? A few years back, I got this info from my friend that she got married with a husband that is born in Beijing. But for her, cannot be just like if the husband did not have that knowledge. But well, we are just so young to get into the point. But the barriers of this such thing did not happen in other countries. Originally, mean throughout the period, we did not have any barriers like this. The step by step of having this has been called invisible wall, something that we cannot see. The reasons behind for labor it makes sense though, because it was a surplus of labor, right? If you have higher wage in Shenzhen, let's say 100 RMB per month or per day, whatever, they will have a flood, okay, of labor coming and whatever that if he or she can get only 50. This what happened in developing countries, let's say Thailand, that Bangkok and surrounding induced the number of laborers to come, just like the Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Fujian have in the period of special economic zones. They would allow the factory, okay, that have set up the factory and the company on coastal area. And this policy is happened before. It was open wider and wider 1980s plus. Why they did not open like perfectly, like 100%? A disparity or inequality of China did not have the level of development, okay, equally. A big city along the coastal area, back into the period of the history, it has a higher development. You know, Shanghai is more than Kunming for sure, right? In terms of development. But I got back from Kunming was like, I was surprised. Right now, many things change. That's what I could say that for the number of years that I've been traveling, Kunming has grown so fast in terms of development. I couldn't remember which road or highways that it used to be at that year. So it proved that from the coastal area have been extended into inland, okay, of China by the policy that has been started. We call decentralization. Can you remember it by yourself? And central is the central government. Right? Decentralization is allow each province have its own autonomy, followed by a central government. And basically, a local government have its own authority, or even under the condition that has been allowed by the central government in Beijing. And the development in China has very competitive at that stage. Competition of development. Mostly it was in terms of infrastructure, land development. For example, in Kunming, the Yunnan government can allow to develop the area by themselves under the condition. And each province also very competitive. I went to Yunnan. It also have, you can convince Thai businessmen to come to our special zone. It has some of incentive like tax evasion, tax of exemption or something like that. That's what the pop up along the way. You know Hainan, right? Hainan is an island. Have you been there? This is the latest update. Hainan is an island that the Chinese government want to set up as the global education hub. if you heard that or something that I got wrong from my friend, okay, let me know. Means you don't need to go to the US, Harvard, Oxford in UK. Go to China that has a hub of university in that area. This is the aim of education that used to be spread out along the globe. Then you just go China as a hub of education. And it was like something happened in Singapore, right? Singapore has so many programs we call double, or just like Thailand happens, not as good as Singapore. You can see Harvard, MIT set up with double programs with Singapore. And because of the level is so global scale, you cannot see that in terms of developing scale as Thailand. So before I jump into the latest one that I just updated, the level of development has been declined in terms of inequality. How can we prove? We have the level of economic terms called a Gini coefficient. Per capita income. The average income of the people divided by population has been rise or has risen for at least 2 or 3 decades. Economic growth of China starting from 6, 9, 10 or double digits in terms of economic growth. Now let me ask and share with you, how can we measure economic growth? How or what tools or index in economics that we use to calculate the economic growth of that country or economy? GDP growth. Right? Have you ever seen 10% GDP growth in Thailand? Too long. But China back into 1980s, double digits. America blamed that. It's a fact number. Prove it. That was set up National Bureau of Statistics and prove that, sorry, America, we did not have 10%. We have to deduct by 2%. 2% out of 10 is still 8%, which is still huge amount. Okay? That is the same thing that we have the GDP growth in 2 definitions, right? Nominal GDP and real GDP. We have 2 things in inflation, right? Money inflation and real inflation, deduct by price index. So something like this can become the theory that you can write down in exam. So you feel free to apply any economics foundation by yourself. But I'm guiding you right now. If you talk about macro, what kind of variables that you should choose? Interim papers as a group, in individual exam by yourself. Inflation, unemployment, right? Food employment, GDP growth, poverty, Gini coefficient. So today, after this class over, I will talk about your first assignment that is come from the previous exam. Okay, for you guys to practice. Because do we agree about the midterm exam date, right? To confirm, what is the date for someone who missed class last time? September 5, from 12 to 3. Okay? Let's repeat it again. September 5 or 15. 12 to 3. That is Saturday, right? It will be announced and book the examination room for you. And oh, I remember because last time some student asked about no multiple choice, sorry. No ABCD. ABCD occur when you have grade only, sorry. Okay, we have a closed loop exam for sure. Okay, writing and show some of your foundations. That's a long way to go, so I recommend you to read the first 5 chapters of Barry Norton textbook. You can read it by yourself or by AI, whatever. But to get the foundations enough, make it like a bullet. What is the main points of that subject? Employment, oh, I should, what's the level? Okay. Now, let's get into this slide. Are you familiar with this? You are now probably not the freshie, right? Or the freshmen. Okay, that allow me to introduce the production function. Output equals A dot functions of K and L. I like AI. I like notebook AI so much. K is a capital. L is a label. If you move from right hand side into this, and if this becoming one product, Y is called output, right? Output Y. Output 1, 2, 3, 4. But if the total of these calls the macroeconomic variable, Y equals to, in macro, Y is GDP. Right? GDP can be calculated by 3 approaches. Production, expenditure, and income. Right? Income. And are you doing okay? Can we move? Income means raw labor. You get wage. You are the landlord, you get rent. You are entrepreneur, you get profit. Something like this. 4 dimensions, right? Or factors called income. We have so many, right? Like in cash or in kind, you have income and plus the welfare is up to the level. Okay, but basically in classical, we call just 4. Wage, interest, rent, and profit, right? 4. So can we move on? Labor is one of them. But why we have only K and L? Economics is too lazy. We hold the other things constant. Am I right? Then we can differentiate against K and L in math. Partial derivative. Am I right? But if we make everything work at the same time, that's called a total derivative. Go to 209. You have a full period with 209. Yeah. But I did not touch that much. My style is to wrap up a function of, but why we have A? What is the A? Technology. So you move from labor of China with no capital. You combine with capital from outside. So I go from my left-hand side to the right-hand side. Just want to show that if I done about Y, be enough for this Friday. That's my style. If you understand why you mention L, why you have K, why you have A. You put I over here, you get the whole story. Because technology is starting from import from outside. Right? Import from foreign direct investment. The government allow the foreign company to come or enter. The period in chapter, it's called Roles of FDI. What is FDI? Foreign Direct Investment. But we did not see here. Where is I? How can you get K? Macroeconomics, chapter 5 or 6. Oh, saving, right? Good. But before saving, we have to have money first. We make money. Why? Right? Deduct tax. Y D equal Y minus tax. Okay? That is the source of money of the Chinese government. Tax. Tax create fiscal policy. Saving, then we go to monetary policy. Banking sector. Can you allow me to move? That is why labor has to make money first. That's what the word called "siao came from. You know "siao"? Means, did I pronounce that right? "Siao" a standard of living, right? Right? You get rich, you have more money, then you can select how to consume what you don't have in the past. Why increase? GDP increase, right? And people now have division of labor. Adam Smith said, that's what I'm talking about. China, welcome to my model. Right? The market economy work or operate when people understand market mechanism. Some student asked me a long time ago, can we live without money? And some Chinese students said, we don't have money. Right? Because right now it's like e-wallet. Am I right? No cash. Some students say, no, we don't need. Just use true money. We have 7-Eleven. But a long time ago, we don't have. Only some, sorry for mentioning, some from Myanmar, right? I went to Naypyidaw 10 years ago. I saw some scenes in the evening market in local capital of Naypyidaw is the capital of Myanmar. It was like crowded people trying to get something inside, like meeting some of K-pop idol. Want to get a signature or have a photo taken. But there was some of the scenes that my friend, my Myanmar friend, said drugstore. Why you go to drugstore on Friday? Nearby it was a bus. You have to get luxury things that make you feel good when you got sick. Am I right? So the basic infrastructure of China has been set up, starting from food, what else? Food, clothes, shelters, and medicine. That's what the 4 things that China, before they get ready, there was the main sector that China has been set up. Food enough, no problem. Right? Shelters, you have cover your cold, your sickness, and you go to see the doctor during the time that your family. That's a system called welfare system. And you need capital in education, hospital. What we need for education, starting from kindergarten, right? And then primary school, high school, university. Chiang Mai University is come from the policy of Thai government that allow or no develop 4 regions to have a full standard of education, starting from doctor. We have medicine, the faculty of medicine, pharmacy, dentist, engineering, all kinds of things, until economics, social science. This area has been donated by rich family of Chiang Mai. Family name Nimman Hevin. Where is the Nimman Hevin that you familiar with? Nimman. You know, like we have first, third, fifth, right? 7, another like on the odd and even numbers. Because a son of Nimman Hevin got degree in architecture from I think Syracuse or Stanford. That was the system that we have as American style. Donate this land for social science. Donate on the other side from a medical. Where is the area of Nimman Hevin? Develop in between. Right? That's what Nimman Hevin means. You make on the other side, social side, and it's a commercials. No, I did not donate. That's what the area of Nimman Hevin road has been cut. Long time ago, this is the rice field. Why is the rice field? You see irrigation canal, right? At the gas station. That is for agriculture. So, you know Chinese, you know history of Chiang Mai. Okay. So we make money from land as well, labor as well. We have mountain, and that's why Chiang Mai confronting with so many floods. Why? We block the waterway. That's why we make a waterway cover along our faculty, actually pass through. Sorry, it's not the Chiang Mai economy. K come from import, machine from Germany, but Soviet Union didn't work. The Soviet Union that is on that day is the what's called the naming of communism, right? You know Karl Marx? Communism, right? In history of economic thought. Did you study it? Labor theory of value. A surplus, not fair because they have an inequality between capitalists and agrarian or stuff like that, the farming. So kind of fair. They think equal. Contribute your work equally. Machine from Soviet Union at that day did not work from China, for China, not for. But why not America? Why not England? That was shut down, right, by the period of closed economy. So China borrowed money from Soviet Union or Russia right now. But somehow it was unfortunate conflicts between Soviet Union and China back into the period of we call propaganda. You know propaganda means, right? Like doing some marketing and better than you and better than you. Most of the time that people from the other side of democracy has an education back into Moscow, Vietnam, North Korea, China. I was ended up in St. Petersburg or some university back in Moscow. because there was another side. America stepped in after China just opened, and they used the sport, right? In the movie called Forrest Gump. Have you ever watched? Ping pong. Suddenly sport. And after that, Deng Xiaoping had few visits to America, even Thailand. He came to visit and found out that special economic zone work efficiently by allowing, like a skilled labor, right? And China has a huge amount of cheap labor. So cheap, lower cost create product and sell it with. If you have lower cost of labor, lower price, then you got relative, right? Price lower than the other countries. So that's the story of China. Capital from outside, firstly did not come directly. It bypassed or passed through Hong Kong. Another size of, Greater Bay Area. You have coastal area, right, on the left-hand side. You have small dot of Hong Kong, Macau. Now has been linked. If it has. Can you name the bridge that link between Hong Kong and the mainland China? Zhuhai, right? Have you been to Hong Kong?
An ambitious plan by This is China's Greater Bay Area. An ambitious plan by the central government to link the special administrative regions of Hong Kong and Macau, plus 9 cities in Guangdong province on the mainland, and turn them into one giant economic hub. It's already surpassed the more famous San Francisco Bay Area in terms of GDP, size, and population, but it lags behind the Tokyo Bay Area. The Chinese government, though, optimistically forecasts that by 2030, its Greater Bay Area will have the highest GDP among all the Bay Areas in the world. But how much do decision makers in Hong Kong know about it? We quizzed several lawmakers.
This is South China Morning Post newspaper that has
3
online.
of 5 lawmakers said the largest city was Guangzhou. But the correct answer is Jiangxing, which is twice the size of Guangzhou.
I thought I was expected to have 5 years, where is it?
As China marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic, a massive plan to connect 11 southern cities
CNA is a network from Singapore.
and South Korea also turns 5 this year. The Greater Bay Area comprises cities in Guangdong Province, Hong Kong, and Macau. It's connected by an extensive network of railways, bridges, and ports, including mega structures like the Shenzhou Link and the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. China has 2 Tier 1 cities in the GBA alone, which means they each have GDP of more than $300 billion. CNA's Daryl Wong looks at how the region is repositioning itself.
A new 24-kilometer bridge now winds across the Pearl River estuary, cutting travel time between 2 major southern cities of Shenzhen and Zhongshan by more than half. The US $6.7 billion megastructure has 8 lanes, 2 bridges, 2 artificial islands, and an undersea tunnel.
K. What is K here? What kind of materials we can make which that link mainland and also small islands? Technologies, right? Steel, cement industry, and labels. Am I right? That's what creates a huge amount of employment. That's why when you see some of inflation outside China, China inside also making employment by its own technologies. So K is so important. It comes from I, investment. And I come from what? Saving. Saving come from money, right? But some countries have consumed more than saved, and mostly more than income. Can you name some countries? Our motherland, Thailand, even US. US is import saving from China. So China can be exported. How? What kind of the price of saving? What is the price of saving? Why we can call as it works? Yes. Okay, a little bit for our favorites. It's fun to make a theory in macroeconomics work in modern Chinese economy. Ajahn mentioned about Y, C, S already, tax already. But why he mentioned about saving? Some countries save more than consume. Some countries consume more than save. For some countries that have saving more than consumption, they can export supply of their own money. Which sector that can do this job? Banking sector. You borrow the money from the bank. That means the US people also borrow the money from the Chinese people? Yes, of course. How? When you want to borrow the money in economics, how can you do that? How government borrow the money from the people? Issue the bond. That's why we call government bond. GB. If it is the private, they call a corporate bond. Major is in business, or money and banking. You're lucky I used to teach that. Okay? Bonds market, a securities market. And why I mentioned that US has a huge amount of import saving because the largest buyer of treasury bond in the US are Chinese government. Next, who care about the dollars? US dollars have called in other world a world currency. Thai baht is not. It's just regional. What I want to mention is who care more about US currency when it's depreciate or appreciate? Chinese or American? China or American? Why? You're right.
US currency depending on global market.
Because they hold the US asset. Am I right? But US dollars in terms of American, it's just the money supply. It's a domestic money. Sorry, but the world just need it. So the people who take care about the American money is the rest of the world. That's why China want to make RMB as international. We call internationalize of RMB. And now congratulations to your money. Not less than 5 years, RMB is becoming the main currency in the basket of international monetary fund. As same as euro currency, as same as US dollar, Japanese yen, and pound sterling. Can Thailand do that? Gosh, you have to see the international reserve. Just choose the simplest one, called GDP. GDP China. This is list of the countries that are the top like 5 or 10 that hold US asset. Number 1 is China, Japan, Switzerland, Russia. Okay. Top 20. Oh, my country, Thailand. Number 18. Over there. Israel, Poland, Turkey. That means the values of its own money can take against the dollar. That is the reason why $1 US equal 31, 32 did not really appreciate that much because that is the backup. Okay, that we are good enough to be in top 20. But if you are under the bottom of the list, that means you are higher risk to return the money. Okay, last slide. 1961. No China. Good music, very bright. Can play rap a little bit. have cheapest price. Saudi Arabia, oil. Okay? That's when we have technology, you need engine. Engine create demand for oil. Make sense? Iran, Japan steel. Venezuela is also one of the oil exporters in OPEC. Very fast, rapidly increase. Opened the country in 1980s. Small country like Singapore happened because it was approaching to, like a development. Okay. I'll send you the link. That is after this, about 20 years. China was number one, just matched with the Wikipedia. Depends on the official source. Mostly you better check with the IMF or BIS, which is organizations that guarantee about the values of the dollars and the currency around the world. I send all the link I mentioned to you. But just for now, I can send this link. And cheap product. Cheap. 2008, the world collapsed by financial crisis. China said, don't worry the world, I still have cheap product. When you get poor, you want to buy rich? You want to buy something like luxury things? No, you said, I need something cheaper. It was the right time that China can save the world. That's why we call Super China in 2007 or 8. If you may heard about it, subprime crisis, European crisis, China will still stand still, said that you can buy my product. That's what the stepping out of some company like Samsung and Huawei was fit in the model. Cheap phone. Okay? And you can see all this has been called the world factory since then. Now I'm stopped at K. I did not touch A yet. A is technologies. The period in 2025, last year, China has own plane, right? You know Boeing, right? You know Airbus? Boeing, that was technology by the US. Airbus by Europe. But China has its own technologies called C919. That is the third, and now has been ordered by some of the airlines, mostly in the domestic and international. fun with your topic. And the list of the scale of the Rubik has been here already. Okay. It says a scale that 15% of the term paper can be deducted like 1%, 2% or what. I will just upload it into Live. Thank you so much. One question remains. You ask you. After this, that's it for this week. Happy? Okay? Did I do something wrong? By allow you to work?